Hello, my Aloha tribe, and welcome to the Aloha Perspective, where you get a little bit of something and a whole lot of everything. Happy Friday! It is Friday. Excuse my hair. We're having a fight right now, and you know, I want her to be. I want all my baby snakes to be in line, and they're deciding to have a day of their own, so they're in timeout. So there you go. Anyways, we're on day. You're like, yeah, we didn't need to know that. Um, Day 5 of self love, and today is tighten your circle and let go of toxic relationships. So tighten your circle and let go of toxic relationships. So I'm going to preface this with everything I read to you in the first part. I did not write. All right. Because some people sit here and say, wow, that's pretty bold. But I swear to you that if you go to lifehack.org and look up the 34 ways to practice self love, you will see that I copied it verbatim, like I always do every morning. That's why I give you the website and everything, because if you watch this later and you know me, there's one part that's just going to be like, wow. I swear to you, it is not me. It is not me. So, I'm going to read this and I'm going to give you my opinion, and then I'm going to read it again at the end, and then we'll close out. Okay. I realize reading it twice at the beginning, you're just going to be like, really? I just heard you the first time. So maybe closing up with it to make you think on it might work a little bit better. Okay. So let's get going. Tighten your circle, let go of toxic relationships, and let go of toxic relationships. Your circle affects your whole life. Look at 5 individuals you spend time with since they make up who you are. Are they favorable, loving, supportive, or unfavorable, impolite, abusive? Do they value themselves? If someone is bringing you down, such as a negative friend, insulting partner, or an overpowering, overly opinionated aunt, remember that you owe them nothing. Ditch, avoid, continue. No one should make you feel less than fantastic. Um, so I put on my poker face for that one because I didn't want to give away what I was talking about. But anyways, uh, the thing about this is that we we change over time. Okay, we change over time, and I have been a negative friend at times, especially before I got my mental health into check. And because I had a lot of trauma, I had a lot of stuff going on. I had a lot just hanging out in the back of my head that had nowhere to go, and it was just darkening my heart and my soul. And for as happy-go-lucky as I tried to be, every so often there would be just like one dumb thing. Sometimes it could be the silliest of things, would just set me off, and it'd just be like, And so when we talk about who do we hang around with, who is the core of our people, who do we trust, who do we who makes us feel good about ourselves. It is not the job of my friends and family to make me feel fantastic, but it is also not the job of my friends and family to tear me down. So um it's nice when we do lift each other up, when your people and yourself lift each other and make you feel fantastic about one another. And that's the goal, right? So when it says tighten your circle, the people that really bring something to your life, those are the people you really want to hold close. But when it says let go of toxic relationships, I get that there might be, maybe a friendship or a family member or something where, you're just not quite ready to let that go yet. But if you want to, that's okay with you. I'm just saying that, um, do a review of it. What does this bring to my life? Does this bring anything to my life? Have I had it up to here? Have I reached my limit? Sometimes people reach their limits and they just walk away. I've done that. I've reached my limit and I walk away because, sometimes we just don't need that negativity in our life, right? Like when I say, well, if you're not a fan of this, I don't need that negativity in my life. Well, that's a joke, right? That's just different. But if there's somebody that constantly does not bring anything to your life, or maybe they've changed and, just look at the patterns, because sometimes people change because of life events. They may become more angry. They may, because their trauma has nowhere to go. I mean, grief is trauma. Okay. Grief is trauma. If you lose somebody important and special and you have no outlet for it, it's going to go in every direction but inside where it, where it should be healing. There's going to be blame, there's going to be anger, there's going to be this, that, and the other. And the whole end result is we cannot change the end result. I could be mad about a lot of different things that could have happened. So my mom could have had a little bit longer, maybe, but I'll never know, right? I'll never know. There are other things I can think of with Sissy Joe or my friend who passed away. There's just so many things that hit our brain after the fact. What could I have done? Could I have done anything? But the fact is, we can't. But when we can't change the outcome, sometimes it just builds and darkens and darkens and darkens until it comes up like a volcano, you know? And I mean, I did not name myself Mount Shelsuvius for no reason. It was just, path of destruction in my wake. Um, and, like I said, a lot of people, somebody actually said to me once, they're all, wow, it's pretty brave of you to share some of the stuff that you share, and about, especially, how you sometimes could be. And it's like, you know what, that's a part of healing. And I'm not saying go out there and be that person that just, hold up a sign that says I used to be an asshole. No, because I mean, for all intents and purposes, this is the difference between self-love and narcissism. Okay, a narcissist will just go out there and be an asshole and not give a shit what anybody thinks. A person who is seeking self-love, who is trying to heal something, who is trying to, you know, uh, ease this trauma and pain inside of them, that's a yearning for self-love. That's trying to find something within them that says, hey, you know what, this is not really who I am or who I want to be, but how do I fix it? That doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. That doesn't mean you need to be fixed. It means that there's something inside of you that needs to heal. So that's why I say to be very careful when, it comes to certain things. Only you can make that choice. This thing can tell you all day long what you should not, or should not be doing. Okay. But only you can make that choice. Because I've seen people say, well, I can't believe that, you didn't let go of that, or you didn't do this, or you didn't do that. I mean, I thank sibling a lot for never giving up on me, because she walked away from other people for, I would, considering how I could be sometimes, for less. But she says, I knew there was something in you, and I knew there was a lot of pain in you, and I knew there was something hurting inside of you. And she's all, and I wasn't going to abandon you, and she, bless her heart, she did not give up on me. Um, and I'm grateful. I'm truly, truly grateful for that, because if she had, like I said a million times, I have no idea where I'd be. Baby sibling too, and the myriad of friends that I picked up along the way. Bestie Troy never gave up on me. I mean, this is someone who hasn't given up on me since we were 15 years old, or 14 years old, actually. So, we started the school year at 14. And even when I changed schools, he never, ever gave up on me. And even still today, a gazillion years later, he's still in my corner. So, bless his heart too, because these are people who could have walked away and didn't. And, I mean, they've had the bravery to tell me where I can improve, and that wasn't wrong. Sometimes as friends, we forget. Actually, it's interesting. So last night, baby sibling sent me something, and the boys had sent it to her, my nephews, and she's all, they, like, mom, you gotta watch this. It made us cry, and it was really good. And and then baby sibling sends it to me, and she's like all the tears, and it's just like, and I thought, okay, what, I started watching it, and I kind of had an idea where it might be going, and but I didn't totally have an idea of where it was going. But it kind of opens your eyes, because there's this girl who feels like she's the only person in the world with trauma. Okay, she's lost a parent, her mom has started to move on now, and her boyfriend is not spending as much time with her, and her teacher just didn't feel like, she didn't feel like her teacher had anything. So she meets this friend online. Okay, she meets this friend online, and this is from the Dar Man series. I love their videos. I mean, they are so inspiring and so filled with compassion and empathy and like just everyday life lessons. So if you ever want to look them up, it's DHARMANN. So it's Dar Man. That's the guy. And he's kind of created his own little studio of all this stuff. But they're these great shorts, and and to be perfectly honest, I think sometimes we should show them in schools. because sometimes we forget that there are other people that exist around us, and I think we're all guilty of that. And there's nothing that it is okay. It's okay. Sometimes we just need to be brave enough when a friend puts or a family member puts a mirror up to our face to see where we might be falling, you know, down. And well, I don't know how to put that, where we may be failing other people when we think they're failing us. Because it turns out that this girl who was mad at her mom, the parents had had a very turbulent marriage. The boyfriend, he had to pick up more shifts and spend less time with her because his grandmother had hurt herself and she couldn't work from home. And her teacher was struggling with cancer, and but she was always trying to put on a happy face. So all these people who were smiling and everything were struggling, and it was because she met an online friend, and it turns out her online friend was struggling. And in the end she didn't make it, but it changed this girl's world. It reminded her that, hey, you know what, check in with your people. So when we talk about tightening your circle and letting go of toxic relationships, make sure that you are checking on your people. Make sure that you're not the one that they're trying to get rid of, that you're not the negative person, that you're not the toxic one. Okay, because we never know. And if you do feel like these are, some traits that you may struggle with, ask yourself, what can I do to heal? What is the source of this? Am I really mad because somebody cut me off in traffic? Probably not. There's something else going on in there. There's a lot of tension and anger and sadness, and just there could be a whole melting pot of things that are happening. You know, like I said, for me, when I get verbal when I'm driving, because someone has literally put my life in almost danger, and it scares me. And unfortunately, that's how I react. But I have learned over the course of the last few years that having gained my self love, I recover a lot faster. I don't let it bother me for the rest of the day. I don't let it make me angry for the rest of the day. It's just kind of like, oh, okay, I'm fine. I lived. I lived. And so, when we talk about things like, we should also put the mirror up to our face. Are we favorable? Are we loving? Are we supportive? Or are we unfavorable? Are we impolite? Are we abusive? Are we an insulting or negative friend? Are we an overpowering, overbearing, opinionated aunt? I sometimes have to check myself with my nephews because it's like, I mean, there's like basically one niece in the whole family. So, it's just like, well, for now anyway. But it's just when we look at these traits in other people, we also have to make sure that we are not embodying these things, because self-love is about being that person who is favorable, loving, and supportive. But it's also remembering that we may have those days where we are not at our shiniest. All right, we may not be sparkling to where we want to be sparkling. We're human. We're going to have bad days. It's going to happen, and it's okay. But with self-love, again, I have noticed for myself personally that I bounce back faster, that I give myself the compassion and the grace and the empathy. I talked about the other day how I was fighting off the spiral. I sometimes think I'm still in the middle of fighting off that spiral, but I'm giving myself the compassion, the empathy, and the love that whatever is trying to make me spiral needs. I am trying to hold space for this feeling and honor these feelings, because the more I honor them and the more I put love into them, the more I see that it's like, okay, well, I can't change this. Yesterday's thing was we can't control everything, right? There's only certain things we can control in our lives, but we can't control it what other people do. So we just have to hope for the best and hope that it resolves itself. And now we can fight back against it. We can speak our minds about it. And I'm proud of the people that are out there speaking their minds and speaking up against a lot of bad things that are happening in this world right now. But a lot of people in their camp that may not agree with them might think that they're being, overbearing, or they may think they're being unloving, but you know what, instead of judging them for fighting for what they believe in, give them that compassion, love, and empathy. Because maybe, for all the people, I don't know, that I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but what I'm saying is that, uh, I've had people, like I said, I've had people call me a flower child. Well, actually, nobody's called me a flower child except older sibling. I get called a hippie a lot because I I speak up. And I may not speak up out in person, but I speak up generally on my social media. But I'm kind of giving that up for Lent because I think that's part of what is making my mental health spiral. So that is part of the self love. It's identifying what is, it's kind of damaging our psyche at the time. So if you have that negative friend, if you have that overpowering relative, if you have that unloving, impolite, abusive person, break it down first. Let's bottom line this, just like older siblings says to me. Let's bottom line this. What is going on in there? Why are you feeling like this? Why are you so angry? Whenever she'd ask me that, half the time I'd be like, I don't know. Apparently I did know, but at that moment I didn't know. But it was all that trauma. It was all that trauma just, and I remember one of the very first therapists I ever said, because I went to him because I was concerned, because I'd just be walking down the hallway and like, bam, I just punch a wall. Or I'd be walking, through a door, bam, I just punch the door jamb or the door. And it's just like, what is happening to me? Why is this all of a sudden just happening? I mean, it came out of nowhere to me, but in a way it didn't, because I was in a place where I was happy. I at the time I was dating somebody who was the last person I ever dated. Well, not hopefully not ever, but it currently is the last person I had ever been in a relationship with. And I was happy. I was joyful. And I think these feelings didn't know where to go because they weren't being entertained anymore. And so they kind of started to rise up. And so I went to my therapist and he says, well, whatever you push down, it doesn't always stay down. He's all, more times than not, it is going to come back up, and it's going to come back up as something completely different. And, so far away from what is causing it. But it was all that trauma, all the secrets, all the hiding, all the, clandestine, don't say anything kind of stuff, that just, you push it down so much and you push it down so far, and it festers and it festers and it grows and it grows and it grows until poof, it becomes something that almost became out of control. But it still took me almost 2 decades to get the proper help that I needed. So, again, to sibling, I thank her every day. But remember, when it comes to people that might be negative, when it comes to people who might seem abusive or, or impolite, just maybe they have something going on in their lives. And that's why we need to check in on our people and make sure they're okay. Just because someone's smiling doesn't mean that everything's all right. Just because someone's out there posting, living my best life, doesn't mean they're living their best life. Maybe that's the life they want to be living. Maybe that's how they think they need to feel to fit into society's expectations. But when we talk about tightening our circles, when we talk about letting go of toxic relationships, it's just talking about, what we can do. And if it's not somebody you want to get, to move away from, then try to help them. Okay, that's kind of where I differ in this, where it says let go of toxic relationships. We can't change anybody, but we can try to help them at first. And if they're still resistant and they're still not willing, then then decide what you want to do. Some people you may just say, I'm out. I'm out. I'm done. I'm done. Other people, you're not going to want to walk away from so easily. You may have a lot of time invested in it. You may have a lot of time invested in a friendship. There's some friendships, like I was talking about yesterday, that I'm not even sure where I stand anymore, but they're not ones that I'm really sure I want to get rid of. They're not ones that I'm really willing to get rid of, because I feel like there's more to it than what was on the surface. And so it's just a matter of, I can't control everything. Let's see how it works out. So, one last time. Your social circle affects your whole life. Look at 5 individuals you spend time with, since they make up who you are. Are they favorable, loving, supportive? Or are they unfavorable, impolite, or abusive? Do they value themselves? If someone is bringing you down, such as a negative friend, insulting partner, or an overpowering, overly opinionated aunt, remember that you owe them nothing. Ditch, avoid, and continue. No one should make you feel less than fantastic. All right. Now, like I said, I'm just going to finish this off with my own thought. It is not anyone else's job to make you feel fantastic, but it is also not anyone's job to tear you down and make you feel like shit. Period. And if someone is doing that to you, you have every right to walk away if you want to. Don't stay because you think you can change someone. We can't change anybody. The only person we can change is us. The only person we can change is the person you see in the mirror. But we can change our response to how we react to certain things. And if you feel like there's no improvement, you have every right to walk away. If you want to walk away at first, that is your right as well. You just have to decide what is best for you. All right. So I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching. I will be back here on Monday, March 10th. March 10th. Oh, today's March 7th. Today's March 7th. Sorry, I got things rolling around in my head, so it's just like, no, never mind. I'm not going to go there. But anyways, yeah, I'll be back here 8:30 a.m. Pacific time Monday morning. I'm still with my dad, and I'll be honest with you, we had a little bit of excitement here at the Lucas Hale, which is house in home in Hawaiian. And so it delayed the Aloha Perspective for a little bit, but everything's better now. Everything's okay and situated. So it's a process, right? It's a process to help people get better. So we're working on that, and yeah, and that's one of those things where it's like, instead of being upset because of something that upends your moment, or even my show in that case, don't be mad. My dad kept saying, just go do what you need to do, and it's like, go do your stuff. It's like, I'll get this, and blah blah blah. It's like, you know what? I'm here for the long haul. I just sat there and I was supportive. I did what, like, we tried a bunch of different things because of what was going on. And then um, when none of those worked and he realized he had to do it himself, I just sat there and I was supportive. I wasn't angry. I wasn't mad, which, is a far cry from who I was even 20 years ago, maybe even 5 years ago. Because sometimes it'd be like, oh, you know, but it's a reminder to us that we're not the only people on this planet. Other people exist. Okay, so check in on your people, make sure they're okay. Even if they're smiling, happy, go lucky, check in on them. All right, and make sure you check in with yourself as well. So, again, I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you Monday. Have a great day.